Hello again, Eric Sfiligoj here from Crop Life and Crop Life Iron here with my friend Laura Sowinski and back in our respective homes. Laura, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. It was fun to see you last week in Florida when we gathered for the ARA event and you went to visit with your mother for a little while and enjoyed some very warm weather. I'm hoping that El Paso though wasn't quite that cold when you got back. Am I guessing right or not?
Yeah, no, it's actually pretty nice, mid 60s today, low 40s at night. So all things considered, just a vest. So and my women in ag tech cap. So
You
all
gotta
good.
have the cap. Yes, yes, yes. And I
Indeed.
know here in Ohio, of course, it's actually fairly cold. I mean, it's December, it would be. And I had finally broke out my winter coat this morning because the high today wasn't going to get above 37, I believe. So
Ooh,
a little chilly, but that's all right.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we're
Well,
surviving. But hey, of course, since this is winter time or going into winter time, and it's December, the big event we're celebrating here at Crop Life, of course, is we've now released the 2023 Crop Life 100 listings, and those, of course, are on our website and will be in print as well this month. Um, and again, as tends to happen, Laura, we spend months putting these listings together, tabulating all the figures, putting
mhm,
everybody in a rank order. And then, of course, as the issue and the rankings come out, we find out that our Crop Life 100 is potentially going down to a 99 fairly quickly. What I'm talking about, this is something that folks probably have been hearing about, little whispers online for a couple of months now. Our friends at Co-Alliance and Ceres Solutions, both Indiana-based cooperatives, are
mhm.
actually pursuing a formal vote to merge. So if this does take
Good
place,
news.
the
Mhm.
vote will happen sometime here, I think, in January, and the effective date of the merged companies would be on February 1. I haven't heard which name they may adopt or where they're going to be located, but I can tell you
Mhm.
based on the 2023 Crop Life 100, Co Alliance was number 10, Series was number 13. So you put those
Mhm.
two together, and you would have another company that would rank in the billion-dollar club with the likes of Growmark and Greenpoint and Wilbur Ellis and Nutrient, of course. So
Yeah, yeah. Another heavyweight in the top 10 there, for
yeah, I was going
sure.
to say. I mean, it seems like the percentage wise for those biggest companies always tends to stay around 65 to 68% every year. And
Mhm.
if this merger goes down, it's going to boost it probably above 70. It'll be interesting to see. So.
Yep. Yep.
So, hey, one other thing to report, I guess on the under the heading of good news to share. This came from Secretary of Ag Vilsack. He was giving a talk, and he was talking about net farm income for 2023, and he
Mhm.
actually reported that it is going to come in for 2023 is going to come in much higher than expected, $151 billion, which will be the second
Mhm.
highest total on record, and that's roughly $10 billion higher than the August forecast was for net farmer income. And that is also very much higher than the 10-year average of $101.5 billion. So, again, as,
Mhm.
as Tom Vilsack pointed out, the growers had a good year in 2023. And as things turned out with commodity prices staying high, their income was higher than expected.
Mhm. That's great news. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think you have some reporting regarding Mr. Vilsack as well. So if you don't mind sharing with our viewers.
I do. Our Secretary of Ag has been in the news this last week, and another item that stood out for me. He mentioned on November 30th, looking at U.S. ag exports, that China was taking advantage of lower prices for corn in Brazil, which contributed to a nearly 20% drop in U.S. exports to China. However, he's hopeful that numbers will balance out and improve over time, although he wasn't specific as to that timeline. Um, he also mentioned, and this was in a Reuters interview, that The US government was working hard to reduce American exporters' over reliance on China and other big markets and encourage greater diversification in US ag exports. Um, Quote from Tom Vilsack: "The reality is that our market has been a little tight and our prices are a little higher than our friends in Brazil and in South America. And so as a result, China is taking the opportunity, as they often do, to take advantage of low cost. But over time, we'll continue to see a righting and balancing of that. Specifically, U.S. ag exports and related products to China through September of this year totaled about 19.9 billion, which was actually the slowest pace in 3 years and down 18% from that same January to September period last year. Exports to all countries are down about 12% as opposed to that 18% reduction to China. So Tom Vilsack, told the President's Export Council on Wednesday that the U.S. Department of Agriculture would start accepting applications for an initial $300 million to help U.S. ag exporters break into new markets outside of China, Canada, Mexico, and the EU, which are again those primary markets. So he mentioned that the new Regional Agricultural Promotion Program, RAPP, established by the USDA in October, will provide a total of $1.2 billion over 5 years to nonprofit U.S. agricultural trade groups, state trade groups, and agricultural co-ops to help them tap new markets and expand their share in others. Specifically, Vilsack said the middle class was growing in many places across South and Southeast Asia, Latin America, the Middle East, and Africa, and therefore demanding higher quality ag products. So this new program from the USDA said to diversify ag exports would focus on 3 regions: Africa, Latin America and the Caribbean, and South and Southeast Asia, at least for the first phase of the program, with 25 million set aside specifically for work in Africa. So, yeah, that's, again, despite a dip in U.S. ag exports, which historically is always a bright spot in overall U.S. U.S. Exports. So this program, again, it's the Regional Agricultural Promotion Program, RAPP, and the USDA put that in place in October. So some good news there. I was trying to avoid some other doom and gloom, which I strangely could seem to gravitate towards, but wanted to offer this up. So good news on both fronts, I think.
Yeah, no, it'll be nice to see some diversification for ag exports out of the United States, I know, going forward. And again, as you said, bad news just tends to lend itself to being put out there a lot more readily. What's the
Oh,
old adage we had in journalism? If it bleeds, it leads. So it's nice to know that I learned that back in high school. So it's nice to know
ah,
40 some years later, it still is the reigning thing in the marketplace when it comes to posting stuff online as well. So,
yeah, yep, for sure.
all
But
right.
this is
Well,
good.
Miss Laura, then we will dive into your favorite segment of the program, and I have perfect faith in you given what we've been talking about. Time for fun with numbers.
Every time you say this is an easy one or I have faith in you, it's like I kind of start sweating. It's like I know I'm going to blow it. I know I'm going to.
I don't, if you blow this one, I will be seriously disappointed. Seriously disappointed. And you'll
I don't know.
understand where we're going. So your number is 18%.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
familiar, but yeah, go on.
It should sound familiar. So is 18%, Ms. Laura, is that the increase in net farmer income for 2023 versus the August estimate? Is it B, the sales bump increase expected from a Co-Alliance Ceres Solutions merger? Is it C, the decline in ag exports to China in 2023 through September? Or is it D, the amount of time the last two videos I've poked fun of Frontier Airlines?
I was honestly holding my breath this morning because, like you said, we're recently traveling, and it's like maybe there's another another encounter with Frontier that you haven't shared yet. It's like, what might it be? Oh, you're funny. C? Would it be
Oh,
C?
absolutely. Yeah, of course, you
Thank
get
God.
this one perfectly correct. And I know when we were coming on and you mentioned you had this item from Vilsack on ag exports, I'm like, well, okay, let's see. I think she's going to get the fun with numbers because that's the exact same article I was pulling my number from this week. So 'cause we don't talk about this
Well,
beforehand. So this is one of those cases where you and I latched onto the same thing, and I figured you would get it. So yes, you did not disappoint me. Congratulations.
I've only gotten through one cup of coffee and not two, so there was all that could have been a wild card, but thankfully I got
Yes, so
it.
very, very good. So then, hey, in a way of a teaser, I guess, when we gather again a week from now, I suspect that you will have an update for our viewers regarding the 2024 Vision Conference, because we're going to be about a month out, a little more than a month out when the next video airs, so you can give everyone an update. And then, of course, in 2 weeks, we will have our annual tradition looking at the video before Christmas. So stay tuned for those two videos, a little preview coming up. And then at the end of the year, Miss Laura and I will talk about, of course, our biggest stories for 2023 and what we're keeping an eye on for 2024. So there's your preview of what's to come. So.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's funny because, as we all know, sometimes it seems things are going slowly, and things kind of bog down, which may not be surprising post Thanksgiving. But boy, oh boy, this last week we've just had a flurry of uh, activity, both for the Vision Conference as well as Women in Ag Tech, our second in-person meeting, which is co-located with that. And yeah, we're just about wrapped up with the program. We do have, I actually want to mention that one of our Women in Ag Tech ambassadors, Joyce Hunter, who's an expert on cybersecurity, particularly as it pertains to ag, she, in October, did a presentation on cybersecurity in ag, and she is going to offer up some highlights in an interactive webinar on December 12th for those members of our Women in Ag Tech community. So, Women in Ag Tech, we do have a LinkedIn group page. So, women out there who are interested, check that out, and we will have more information on the webinar that Joyce is going to present next week, December 12th. So, but yeah, absolutely, Eric. We've got a lot of stuff happening on Vision, Women in Ag Tech, and we'll give a comprehensive rundown this next week.
Okay, very good. So yes, the viewers, of course, stay tuned for that for next week. And on behalf of myself and everyone here at Crop Life, thanks for joining us this week, and we'll see you again soon. If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below. Your feedback is important to us. We will try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.